Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. The Slovakian President Peter Pellegrini begins his first official visit to China on Monday. Slovakia finds itself at the intersection of economics and geopolitics. Now, the trip comes just days after Beijing retaliated against the European Union's latest Russia sanctions by imposing export controls on 14 European entities. As Bratislava looks to attract more Chinese investment, expand trade, and strengthen its regional role. And joining us now is Sklenár, former Slovak Defense Minister. Good to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to begin just with the significance of this visit. I mean, the president has arrived there in China. He's going to see a lot of the Chinese leadership. So what, in your mind, beyond the headlines, what's, let's say, success look like after these few days there in Beijing?
Well, for the president, it's an important visit, and for Slovakia as well. The visit actually follows a visit of the prime minister that took place in China basically 18 months ago in November 2024, which set the standard of the partnership to the level of a strategic partnership. So it's not only an economic exchange anymore. It's based on the visit of Prime Minister Fico. The countries consider themselves strategic partners when it comes to cooperation. So the president has to make sure that this partnership is even elevated to the level of the presidents, and will be trying to make sure that he represents the strategic partnership as well. They will be looking into projects of cooperation, mostly in the car industry domain, of course, which is very important for Slovakia's economy, and where Slovakia sees a lot of opportunity right now to work with Chinese companies. So in that sense, it will be important to see how much of the strategic partnership will be translated into actually a balanced relationship between Slovakia and China in this. There's other domains such as technology, AI, and even transport or other research cooperation. So the success of this visit will be seen through how many concrete examples of, as I say, a balanced cooperation can be developed based on this visit.
Right, and I think at the same time, I mean, any sort of European leader does travel not just for his own or her own country, but also for the European Union. Now, I just want to get your insights. Just days ago, as I mentioned, there are these export controls, this slap from China. I mean, that makes the strategic partnership a little bit more, let's say, challenging, perhaps. What do you think his trip is going to have, and how much of a bearing will that have now on any kind of discussions that the president will have there with the Chinese?
That is certainly something that they have to talk about and hope to compare their notes from a Slovak perspective. As I mentioned, the car industry is the key of the economy. It generates around 10% of the GDP and is being held under enormous pressure, especially from Chinese manufacturers of electronic vehicles or electric vehicles. So it is a critical discussion that Slovakia has to have with China, based on a discussion that it previously already had with European partners. As I say, the partners in Slovakia who produce the cars are mostly European, especially German and French companies, but also Volvo, which already has a connection to China. This is critical for the president and also for Slovakia as such to make sure that the position and that the cooperation with China does not harm the industry, helps at what Slovakia expects, the supply chain value into this, or increase the added value in the supply chain for Slovakia, but doesn't jeopardize the relationship that Slovakia has with Germany and other countries when it comes to the car industry. So in that sense, it's going to be a very sensitive discussion about how to open the Slovak car industry production for Chinese investment, but not to limit cooperation, or not at the expense of a relationship with Germany and other countries in Europe.
And I think that's going to be a difficult path to tread. I mean, also this Chinese investment into Slovakia, I think there's several projects running. I mean, that's obviously valuable. You already mentioned the automotive industry. But at the same time, can Pellegrini, maybe by himself or Slovakia right now, really balance all those things? Or will there have to be a trade-off? On the one hand, more Chinese investment that comes probably at a cost, doesn't it? And at the same time, still being in line with what Europe wants, also in terms of wider policy. Can it do all those things at once?
Well, that's one of the concerns, right? What we see recently, and especially with the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Fico, is that they are more inclined to attract Chinese investment at the expense or with the risk of involving them too much, or even getting too vulnerable in some of the domains with Chinese partners, and because some of them, as we see in research, but also elsewhere, they have a strong connection to the Chinese government, even to the Communist Party and the People's Liberation Army, where some of these concerns can be mitigated through foreign direct investment screening, or recommendations from the security authority that Slovakia also has, and which have worked in the past, especially when Slovakia was building up its 5G network, where the share of Chinese investment or production has been kept quite low compared also to other European countries. Now we see that the kind of concerns or awareness are put on the not completely on the back burner, but certainly are putting into the background, and the concern is that it might be that security concerns might be put in the background for more economic opportunities, simply because of the concern of Slovakia's economy not doing very well.
At the same time, I want to draw on your experience in terms of the defense sector as well, in your time as defense minister. I mean, there's a recent initiative now, a NATO initiative that Slovakia has joined, standardizing these 155mm rounds. This is also, I think, some kind of new opportunity for Slovakia. But then at the same time, having that kind of standard, that interoperability, we talked about the supply chain. Can Slovakia do that and at the same time still be secure and, let's say, bet on Chinese investment, or will that maybe not be possible?
Well, let's see what Pellegrini comes back with from his state visit. Slovakia has a strong position in the ammunition manufacturing, in cooperation with the Czech Republic and the partners across the border there, and also in Poland. So it becomes a driver of production of 155mm ammunition in NATO, in the European Union. I mean, this is something that is becoming strategically important, not only to Slovakia, but also to NATO and the European Union, and making sure that this is sustainable, and this is also protected from any possible foreign influence or interference is obviously something that is critical for not only the countries who are involved, but also for the EU and NATO on a broader scale. So there has to be more discussions also with Slovakia, with Slovak representatives, about what are the possibilities, what are the limitations on cooperation like that, because it's not only with China, it's never only about the economic cooperation, right? There's a lot that comes with the proposals for economic investment into countries. We have seen the stories in other places in Europe which have not gone well. Or basically, it depends how you look at it. But the story with Lithuania, where China wanted to actually exert its economic pressure then on the country based on some of the project developed in the past. This is exactly what Slovakia is now risking if it becomes too attached or too closely attached to cooperation with China in economic and also the car industry and other manufacturing.
You mentioned cooperation. I just want to ask you as well. I mean, the V4, the Visegrad 4 whole alliance there, that's now under the presidency of Slovakia as of July. This has also retained new interest, especially now with the change of government in Hungary. So what are the expectations there? What can Slovakia deliver? What are the expectations for this, let's say, cooperative venture?
Well, the Visegrad Group is a very specific animal, right? I mean, the most important nature of it is that it's very informal. It always focuses on the kind of topics and possibilities that the four governments are able to identify together. It's very dependent on the representation in the particular governments in the group, and this is another specific moment in that situation, right? We have Hungary, where we had a recent change in governments, but also the Czech Republic, which has done the same not so long ago, and we have Poland and Slovakia who have already tried to develop their relationship for a longer time, expecting elections next year. So the four governments, when they come together, they are trying to make sure that they can work together on specific issues, and what we'll be looking for is how much the group is able to focus on more substantial projects, because in the recent past, given the differences in the political situation, the group was focusing more on let's call it lower tier initiatives and projects. And the expectation is that as the political situations change in the countries, there will be more important topics to talk about, including security and defense cooperation in the countries. But as of right now, we either cannot really judge the expectations in the whole group because of the very differentiated approaches of governments to very important topics such as Ukraine, with Slovakia and the Czech Republic being very limited in their support for Ukraine, while Poland and Hungary, and now Hungary with the changed government, are a little bit more forward-leaning when it comes to cooperation, while respecting their national nuances on that support.
Mm-hmm. And one quick final one. I'm just curious. I mean, the president traveling from Slovakia to China, dominant economic power in the world, but it wasn't the only one. I think the high-profile visit recently, I think just about a month ago or so, of the Indian Prime Minister to Slovakia as well. So you have China, you have India, both set their eyes on Slovakia. Just give us your take. I mean, is this part of a broader shift? Is the significance of Slovakia? Just give us your quick opinion before we close.
Well, it looks like it's a shift, but might not be. This is also a representation of the outstanding invitations to come to Slovakia, especially for Prime Minister Modi. It is important to say that yes, Slovakia is an interesting entry point into the European Union right now, because it offers a little bit of a different proposition than some of the European countries. I would believe that the representatives from countries from this part of the world and from also like this part of the global spectrum would be coming to Slovakia to see how much the specificity of the Slovak government is on one hand in line with the European position to offer the stability that you need for economic cooperation, but also whether at all it offers any interesting opportunities to develop business, maybe a little bit more profit than in some of the other European countries.
All right. So, and we'll of course cover the rest of the visit as Slovakia's President Pellegrini is in China for the next few days. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all those insights. Martin Sklenár there, former Slovak Defense Minister. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching World Talks, but do stay right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.